Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Whitetail Rendezvous is pleased to announce a partnership with GoHunt.com. Who's GoHunt.com? Well, if you're a DIY hunter, you need the information at GoHunt.com/insider. Why? Because it provides 4,200 profiles, every unit, every species, and every season. Furthermore, they give in-depth analysis, interactive maps, unit access, and seasonal trends. Draw odds are very important, and they give you the most accurate information in the business. All this is available when you go to GoHunt.com/insider. Make sure you use promo code WR when you join Insider. You'll get a $50 gift card for GoHunt.com Gear Shop. Remember, when you become a member of GoHunt.com/insider, you're going to get a $50 gift card to Go Hunt Gear Shop. What's in the gear shop? The best gear that you can buy for hunting the West. This gear's been field tested by some of the best, and they know what it can do, what it can't do. You're going to get reviews, and you're going to have a selection that is bar none right at the top of the list. Having said that, once you get your gift card, all you have to do is go to GoHunt.com and go to the first page and click on shop and go have some fun. All in all, if you're hunting out West in 2018, GoHunt.com Insider is where you need to be to get all the research information. When you use promo code WR, Whitetail Rendezvous receives a small commission from GoHunt.com. Hey folks, this is Bruce Hutchin, the host and executive producer of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're heading out to the Carolinas, the freezing Carolinas, and we got Kent Wilkinson on the show, and he's the CEO of Muzzle Force One. Kent, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bruce. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, how cold is it?
It is currently 21 degrees with a low of 11 tonight, and then not getting out of the 30s for at least the next week and a half.
So,
About
folks,
35 degrees colder than what we're accustomed to.
Yeah, and I was just going to underscore that. And the whole East Coast, I got some friends in Florida, and they've had snow. And I got some friends up in Maine, New Hampshire, and they got a lot of snow. And it's just, it's unbelievable what the heck's going on with our weather. And I just wonder how that's going to impact the deer herds. What do you think about that?
Well, a friend of mine told me a couple of years ago, regardless of the temperature, deer got to eat. So they're gonna get up and move. So I guess this is new for them too. So we'll find out. Actually, our deer season just ended January 1st, but we'll still be out there tracking and looking and see what kind of activity we have.
Well, heck, some of my friends and listeners and guests, they're talking about finding sheds already, and then other friends are saying they've seen brand new rubs. I'm kind of confused. What do you think's going on there?
Well, I guess bottom line, I don't really know, but in our particular area, we think we have an overpopulation of doe, and so we haven't seen any sheds at all. But it may be that what few bucks we have are just out there wearing it out as long as they can. So that may be part of it. I'm not sure, Bruce.
Yeah, it's just it's really interesting. And hey, folks, if you listen to this and you got some thoughts on that, please send them to me at whitetailrendezvous@gmail.com. Love to hear from you and get some input, because I'm going to try to find some people that sort of kind of said this is the reason why, and I'd love to get you on the show. So reach out to me at whitetailrendezvous@gmail.com. So, Kent, let's talk about some of the things that have been happening to you. You had a 2017 season, and how did you do?
Well, not what I anticipated. We only landed 4 buck and 3 doe. Where we hunt, we're only on roughly 224 acres that 2 of us hunt, but it's in an area where there's a lot of way out what we call a county. It's basically out in the country. There's not a lot of people living there, but enough people hunting. So it's we may have stressed it a little bit too much, but we had a good year. Duck came in. We have some places where we landed on a couple good hunts with mallards. And we're just talking about country ponds. We're not talking about big lakes or swamp areas. So overall, we were pretty pleased.
Now, what weapons are you using to hunt?
Well, for the fowl, I'm using Remington 1100 and an 870, and then for deer, I'll switch back from 30-30 Marlins to what I'd actually prefer to shoot would be it's a 308. Well, actually, it's 25-06 Browning bolt action, so that's my weapon of choice.
Do you shoot a 308?
I do have a 308, but it's an older 1972 Porter, so it's not a good for me. It's too heavy and too old, but it's a pretty good gun.
Yeah, because Peterson Ammunition match grade brass. They sent me a box of 308, and I'm just trying to find somebody that reloads themselves. And send it out to them.
Not reload, but roll your own.
All right. Now, talk to me in the you talked to me in the warm up. You started getting the waterfowl hunting. How did that come about?
Well, I've never done it before, and on that land I was talking about that we hunt's got about a 12-acre pond on it, and kept seeing them come in, so I started looking into it and have a couple friends out of Mississippi and actually here in eastern North Carolina that have really been into it. And our dove population used to be a lot of dove and quail here, and it's virtually, especially quail, is virtually gone. And I'd never ever even thought about waterfowl. And I was out there in a lawn near the pond and heard this noise come over I hadn't heard before. I guess guys that hunt waterfowl know what I'm talking about, but it's a real unique sound when a flock comes over just when they're cruising. It's almost like an airplane, not near as loud, but you just don't know what it is. And just to see the basically God's creation come around and circle the pond, and a couple, 2, 3, 4 of them will break loose and land on the pond, and then they'll circle 6 more times. And that's what I grew up on, was dove hunting, and kind of brought back that passion, I guess, or interest in going after waterfowl. And it's really, I had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, I shot some geese and ducks in my past. Haven't done it of late, but I love the evening flight, and they come down and they just start buzzing the trees or the grain or however you set up the marsh, whatever. And it's really unique because that sound is unique to birds as the wind's going across their feathers. But they're darn good eating. And
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that was really, to me, it was really cool.
Yeah, it is, and they're great eating too. The mallards I eat come out of Canada, grain, so they're pretty much grain fed. So treat them right, and there's some god awful wonderful meals that you get off those birds.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We haven't eaten them yet, but they're in the freezer.
So when you look at everything that you're doing with Muzzle Force One, why don't you catch me up, because it's probably been 18 months or so since we last talked and you were getting the company off the ground. So where are you at, and really tell the people what the heck it does.
Well, I guess go back from the beginning, that I was sitting in a deer stand, basically had a 180-degree window to shoot from, but being a left-handed or right-handed shooter really cuts you down to maybe 180, 190. So anything off to your far right would be, have to move in the stand. So in any case, I'm sitting there, and sure enough, a 6-point buck shows off to my right, and he's looking dead at me. And I'm trying to figure out how to scoot over. I'm covered, but you can still see my head, and I'm trying to figure out how to cut over. And basically, I was trying, if I could switch to left hand, then that would solve a lot of the movement problem. Anyway, guy put it in my head to come up with a strap. There's a way you can strap up with your shoulder strap, but this one actually works independent of that, and it's just a real simple loop that attaches to the same place your shoulder strap does, and the binder doesn't affect the effectiveness or how the shoulder strap works, but it allows you to get that grip where you can, from your muzzle force, your forehand grip, whether it's your right hand or left, and pulling that rifle tight to your shoulder, giving it giving you that confidence that you can make that shot, whether you're at 50 yards or we're not in a place where there's many places you're going to be much over 100 yards, but a couple guys, friends of mine down in Texas, they take those 200 or 300 yard shots and freehand. And so, obviously, if you can brace up on something or use a stick or lean against a tree or deer stand, but this actually can use it both at the same time with all those situations. But if it's a freehand shot, it's going to really steady your shot down to where you can hold that target even after your first shot. And if you're doing leather or bolt action, then it'll allow you to recharge your weapon and stay scoped on your target, see if you need to make that second shot. So that's really where it all started.
Now, the product's made of leather or webbing, or what's it made of?
Well, we have, yes, it's that webbing that you might find on backpacks and whatnot, as far as what we call the tone. Got 11 different positions because some people like to be a little closer to their muzzle end, or they might like their grip a little, further back towards the stock. So you got that, it's basically about 8 inches variance where you can adjust that. And then the loop part, we have synthetics and we have cloth. And we also were fortunate enough last year to run into, we were out in Indiana doing some homeschool testing and ran across an Amish group. It was a leather shop, and I took one of the synthetics and I said, "Can you guys make this?" And they have, and it's actually been one of our strongest sellers here and in Germany. So yeah, they're both cotton, synthetic, and fully leather.
Now, we're talking about rifles. What about shotguns? Because we were talking about bird hunting, and boy, to get steady when you're swinging through, a bird. Does it work there?
It does. Where it doesn't work on particular shotguns, like on 1100, which is a pump, well, the 870 is too, but it doesn't allow to recharge that weapon without coming down a strap. So as far as pump action rifles, it's not your ideal tool to use. But other than that, yeah, for a shotgun, it's a semi, then it works just fine, just like on any other rifle.
Now, if somebody wanted to see a video, are you up on YouTube?
We are not on YouTube, but we have videos on Instagram and Facebook, and of course we have our regular Gmail account where you access all of that.
And what does that run? What's one Muzzle Force One run?
What do you mean?
How much does it cost?
The synthetics and cottons are $24.95, and the leather, the full Amish leather, is $39.95.
And they just go to muzzleforce1.com to order?
Yeah, muzzleforce1.com, or if they want to have any questions, we can go to muzzleforce1@gmail.com.
All right. Now, you did mention that you're already in Europe. I find that interesting. How did that come about?
Stefan, who's in Germany, Hessen, Germany, found us on Instagram, and he already had a huge presence with, he's got a couple different sites where he does tests for different rifle manufacturers, and he contacted us, and he actually came to Florida last year, and we met and put something together, and we set up a sister company there. It's called Sallenhammer or SH1, and the problem with Muzzle Force is apparently the Germans still have a strong stigma against military, and so they don't want anything that's actually gun related for some reason. And so he came up with Sallenhammer and actually got hooked up with a magazine. I think it's called Jaeger, and they do a lot more driven hunts than we do using dogs. They don't have any turkey. They do have different types of deer, but a lot of what they hunt is the wild boar. So that's where Sallenhammer came from, and Sallenhammer roughly translates to wild boar hammer. So he's got control over the European market, where we're concentrating on right now the U.S. market and Canada.
So the reception in Europe's been pretty good, or is it just okay?
No, it's been it's been ever since he had he actually went to the magazine and wanted to run an ad, and they wanted to see some of the products, so they sent it to him. And instead of running an ad that he would have to pay for, they ran a 2-page article on this as a must-have tool to have while you're hunting. And so he went from selling maybe 6 or 7 a week to 17 to 25 every day. And
my goodness.
Yeah, we just shipped him another order. All the manufacturing, I think this is kind of important, at least it is to me. All our manufacturing is done here in North Carolina by American-owned companies. Everything from our packaging to the actual strap itself to the binder pin that we use to hold the wrist strap in place. So everything is made here in America, and even everything we send to Germany, I kept the rights to manufacturing here. Actually, Stephen talked with some people out of China, and they can actually supposedly they can make these things for about 34 cents a piece, which is about 10 times less than what it's costing us here. But I'm dead set on keeping it made here, even if it's got to cost more.
Yeah, because that gives you some uniqueness, because once you go overseas, whole mess of different things start to come in, like lot size, 100,000 lot size, or I'm just throwing out numbers, but the lot size changes, and, it works for some people, but what you have here,
Apparently it works for a lot of people.
Pardon me?
I said, if you go to Walmart, apparently it works for a lot of people. But
yeah.
we're not in this for just making money. But I don't know, just keeping it here. I'm sticking to it, and that's the way it is.
Good for you. Well, here's one guy that supports you, and many of my listeners would go, yes, sir, and fly the flag also, because it's just neat to see these cottage industries, and I talk to a lot of them during the year, and they just get an idea and they start cranking it out, and some make it and some won't. That's business. I mean, you got to understand that. But following up with you today after months gone by, it's just it's great that you're still hanging in there, growing your business and making it work. Any other products on the line, or is this the one product you're going to be married to?
Well, we're actually, this is kind of a little bit of a unique kind of tool for hunting, but Stephen has come up with a clothing line, which is hunting, which is oversaturated here, but apparently there it's not too bad. It's pretty unique design he's come up with. So they 40% of their outerwear has to be orange or greater, and here in North Carolina, I don't know about Colorado, but here in North Carolina, if you got an orange hat on, you're good. So that's the only thing that is coming out now. We're actually talking to a guy named Bryan, which is called Mr. Stealth Mode in Hawaii. For some reason, Hawaii's been a big seller for us, and we're looking to start. We started working on a distributorship down in Texas, and talking to Justin Wegner with something guru. I can't remember it right now. Then Chris Helms is helping us out. Hal Johnson's helping us out. So a lot of people are sticking their neck out a little bit for us and see if we can get this thing rolling and just getting it out there. I mean, and you too, Bruce. You're helping us out a lot too.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I had when I was doing up prepping for your show, Bryan. How do you say Bryan Magliba?
I think so. He's the
stealth mode.
Yeah, stealth mode guy. He's nuts. He's absolutely nuts what they do. But
well, Hawaii's got some great hunts. I know I've got some friends in California that go there multiple times a year just to kill those rams of sheep and then hogs, and they have just one heck of a time. And like they said to me, they don't worry about if they're going to get shooting. It's not guaranteed, never is, but they enjoy the heck out of it. So Hawaii is, folks, if you haven't gone to Hawaii and done some hunting, you'd be surprised of what's available to you over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Justin doesn't get mad at me. Justin's site is called Hunting Product Guru. So I had a brain fart there for a minute.
That's okay. And I saw him. Didn't he he did a review of your product, I think.
He did. And
Okay.
he does a lot of work with one of the box clubs that's more for archery, not for hunting. But he's been a great guy, been a good person to meet.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, after I watched a little bit of the video, I said, he'd be a great guy to get on the show. Hey, we're at the time of the show here, Kent, and I like to say gearing up. And so what was the last piece of hunting equipment or gear that you purchased, and why'd you purchase it?
Well, it was that Browning 25-06. I just like that round. I like the action. The trigger is super sensitive. So it's just a lightweight, balanced well, and attaching a muzzle force to it really just kind of made it pop, and just liked it. And it turns out that with the muzzle force, and it's going to take some time, but I can shoot just as comfortably right-handed as I can left-handed now. So it takes a little practice, but you can do it.
And you think that's all because of the muzzle force?
Yeah, because it literally frees up everything you're doing in hunting with your firearm is using your forehand grip and your rear hand grip. And when you have the muzzle force, you can apply so much torque to your shoulder that your right hand, all you need it for, say a bolt action, is to recharge your weapon, then pull the trigger. So it's not involved in bringing that torque and control to your shoulder. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
I'm thinking of Mr. Lefty himself, Craig Boddington. Have you sent one of these Muzzle Force Ones out to Boddington?
No, I haven't.
Man, you ought to.
No, I don't even know who that is. Yeah.
Craig Boddington?
Huh?
Craig Boddington, he travels the world. He's been hunting for 20 or 30 years, and he's a left-hander, and he shoots all sorts of guns, and he's written hundreds of articles, gun articles.
Right.
Yeah, do some research. Do some research, and get a hold of him. You'll send it to a PO thing, but just say, hey, I was talking to Bruce Hutchin at Whitetail Runner. Craig's been on the show, and he thought maybe you'd like to take a look at this. Heck yeah!
Thank you.
Well, no, because I shouldn't say well, no, but I don't know how many trips he's made to Africa and Spain. I mean, he's one of these guys that's hunted all around the world and writes articles about it. And most of the time, he works his guns, into the equation. So, he'd be a great guy to say, hey, here's what it is. And Craig, if you're listening to this, Kent Wilkinson's going to send you one of the Muzzle Force Ones, and try it out. Let Kent know how it works out. Let me know how it works out for you. So anyway, that's your free shout out, man.
Thanks, Bruce.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, as soon as you said left-handed, I go, man, Boddington should try this sucker out.
Yeah, well, right-handed or left-handed, but once you get into the hunting world a little bit, then you feel like you're almost a NASCAR driver talking about the people you talk to, and like the Huntress and Heels, and but the real camo girls are a piece of work. So they've been it's just we're just trying to get it in people's hands and let them try it out and just see what they think. And
I'm going through my Rolodex at two of the really neat ladies that have come on the scene since the last ATA show, Nikki Tilley and Brittany Glaze. They're just doing a lot of great stuff in the outdoors, and so there's another couple of ladies you just need to, they're all over social media. So if you're not on social media, I know you've got somebody working social media, but reach out to them, because they're the type of people that would be good for your product. At least try out your product.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got a Rolodex that doesn't quit.
So you're going to go NASCAR on me a little bit? Do you know what that means?
No, sir, I do not.
Oh, you ever seen the end of a NASCAR race and the guy drinks the milk and then they stand up and this next 15 minutes listing off all of his sponsors?
Yes, sir.
So that's when I say go NASCAR, that's what I'm talking about.
All right. Well, you're from the home of NASCAR, the Piedmont and the Hills and the Whiskey Runners, and I forget maybe it was you I had on the show, and we started talking about NASCAR and how it all started. Guys running the juice.
Yep. It started up in Wilkesboro. That's up in the mountains, and now the hub of everything is in Charlotte, Concord, Bruton Smith, and all those guys. So I don't know, but that's
Yeah.
where I got started.
That's one thing, folks and listeners, we're talking about a lot of different things today, but that's part of it because we're all whitetail hunters. We all got experiences and stories are what makes it fun. At least from yours truly, myself, no question about it. So let's talk about something that everybody needs to perk up their ears, and I hope you're still listening, folks. But taking that ethical shot, and we've all been in situations. I'm guilty of it. I've taken a shot, and as soon as I shoot, I go, I shouldn't have done that. Or, man, the odds were against me, but I took the shot anyway, and, it made for a long, long day, long night. So let's talk about ethical shooting.
Well, like I said, where we hunt, 100, 150-yard shot is about the top end of what I'm comfortable with. But, if it was a longer shot, and I was properly set up. And of course, for me, and obviously I'm going to say this, but with the muzzle force, it gives you that torque coming back to your shoulder. You really have control of everything about your firearm. If it's not a shot I don't feel comfortable with, I'm just not going to take it. The deer will be back around, I'll be back, and have more of an ethical kill, because I can't think of, I cannot, and it's happened a couple times, taking a shot that I actually felt comfortable with and spent 2 or 3 hours one day and come back the next day trying to track down the harvest that you thought you had. And so for me, I don't want to wound an animal, and certainly don't want it to go off and die somewhere and come out the next day and the buzzards are flying. Or in our case, we've got a good number of coyotes as well. So I'd rather take that safe, sure kill. And I guess the selfish part of it is I don't want to spend 2 or 3 hours out tracking something. That's just being honest about it. So if I can take that 50 to 100 yard all day long, and anything beyond that, for me personally, I'm gonna think about that twice. But we don't have an opportunity for anything much longer than 150 yards. At least where we hunt.
Thinking about that, and I like to say to everybody that you got to know your ethical kill range. Now, some guys, I've seen them shoot 800, 1,000 yards, and when they pull the trigger, that critter or target, is hit, and it hit very well. But for most of us, we can't do that. So it comes back to, when I used to shoot a compound, what was my, paper plate, 8 arrows, 6 arrows in that paper plate, what range was that? Same with my crossbow. And all my rifles are dialed in, that, pretty much they're dead on at 300 yards. But even though you say that, terrain, wind, rain, snow, you throw all these ingredients in there, maybe that 300-yard shot goes to 150 yards. But you have to decide that because, as I said at the outset, I've had some of those long night shots because I screwed up.
Right.
And that's not fair to the critter. And that was a long time ago. And today on the farm where we hunt, if you wound a doe and you don't get her that evening, then in the morning, whenever, she's going to be eaten.
Right.
No question about it.
Well, it goes back to what you're comfortable with and just knowing your limits. And I don't know about you, I've been hunting for 35, 40 years, and I don't know what it is, but my heart gets all jacked up and you get all nervous and, just excited and, get yourself calmed down. But I know what my limits are. And I know a couple guys that won't think twice about shooting 600, 800 yards. And, but I just can't. And so I know that. And so I'm just not going to take that shot. So not that other people can't. You're right. They can. So just knowing your limits and stay within them.
Yeah, well said. And listeners, it's wintertime. Yes, the cold weather's going to go away, but get out on the range and this spring and burn some shells and just say, okay, I can shoot my rifle, my 7mm, 30-06, whatever it happens to be. I can shoot that consistently and get a nice group, at 350 yards. And
Right.
so, when you see that buck at 400 yards with your rangefinder, well, I'll just take a shot. I'll put the crosshairs on the back and pull the trigger, and we'll see what happens. If you're thinking that way from this guy, just don't do that. Stalk him, get closer, let him go to live another day. Call it what you want, because I guess what I want to say here is we're watched in how we do things. And you might not think, wow, this wouldn't happen or that wouldn't happen. People know what the heck you do. Your kids know what the heck you do. And so you're teaching all the time. And so be a good teacher. I guess that's my 2 cents. Kent?
Yep, I agree 100%, Bruce.
I'm trying to look here. You hunt with a crossbow, right?
I do.
Now, why did you start hunting with a crossbow?
Old football shoulder injury. Had a hard time pulling that torque back. And actually, there's a fellow named Scott DeChinko, lives up in New York, retired police officer. And he actually, and I hadn't done it before, but he attached one of these MF1s to his crossbow, and apparently loves it. But I just didn't have the strength anymore, just to get that bow back. So crossbow seemed about the simplest thing for me to do.
And the reason, because crossbows of late, the last 3 years, had just erupted. Prior to that, some people had crossbows, okay, but all of a sudden, kids came on the scene, women came on the scene, old guys like me with some, injuries came on the scene, and I wasn't going to stop hunting with an arrow or crossbow bolt. I still wanted that opportunity, and the states have followed suit, where most states, you can buy a crossbow license, or some states you just buy an archery license and you can hunt whatever. So, what are your thoughts about, kids and women using a crossbow versus the compound?
Well, there again, this upper body strength, using your lower and larger muscles. And for kids, anytime we can get kids, man, there's more and more women hunting, which I think is awesome. Getting out there, having the kids get out there, and like you said, the crossbows they have these days, man, they're set up just like a rifle. And there again, it's not going to have the range, but 50, 100 yards, depending on what you have, is not an improper shot. And the more we get our youth involved, and here in North Carolina, they have a lot of our seasons will start a week or two early for youth only. So anything we can get people in there, we got to manage. A lot of people think we're just out to kill, or somebody sent something back to me, wonder why I didn't buy my meat in the grocery store. It's just like everybody else, where animals didn't get hurt. So there's a lot of ignorance out there. But we get the kids out there, and more importantly, well, not just important, is women and understanding, the benefits of that. And there's tons of it. Managing what we want to harvest, and getting rid of the bobcats, and getting rid of the feral hogs, and with coyotes, all the predators. So it's there's tons of us out there that hunt, but getting the youth probably is one of the most important things we can do for the industry as a whole, I would think.
Yeah, and I definitely agree to that, because it's just a lot easier for a kid to start off with a crossbow. And I know my son started off with traditional, and then they went to compounds, and that's what they hunt with now. And they'll probably go to crossbows, or have their kids start off with crossbows. Easy. And I'll give a shout out to Primo's Trigger Stick Generation 2. That's what I use to steady my crossbow. And I just use that. It's a single stick, and it's got a trigger on it. And boy, that seems to work really well with my Excalibur crossbow for steadying it, especially on the ground or in a box blind. Works really well. Well, we're at the time of the show that looks like I'm done. Get any more questions of me, Ken?
Nothing I can think of. Did I ever send you any of these?
Excuse me, sir?
Did I ever send you any of these Muzzle Force?
You sent me a pink one and an olive one or whatever. And so the pink one went to Wisconsin. Well, I do most of my whitetail hunting in Wisconsin, so they're in use in Wisconsin. I haven't followed up with the people just because I haven't followed up with the people, but they do have them. That's for sure.
But I one of the Amish leather ones.
Sure, whatever you got, I'd be honored to to use it. In fact, hearing what the guy said for his crossbow, I'd like to try it on that.
Huh. Yeah, we got some video up on our Instagram showing Scott when he used his and his grouping as well.
Yeah, because crossbows, once you get them set up, I mean they're pretty deadly. They're not pretty deadly. They are. They're very accurate. You still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap the show, Ken, and on behalf of thousands of listeners throughout North America, Kent Wilkinson, CEO of Muzzle Force One. It's been just an honor, a privilege. It's been a lot of fun to have you on the show today.
Bruce, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing, and good luck in the future.
Next up is a good friend, Larry May. Larry is a school teacher down in Kentucky, Tomahawk, Kentucky, to be exact, and he also has Full Range Outdoors. Now, Full Range Outdoors is a self-filming hunting show, but it's more than that. It gets into the hunting tradition. It gets into why we need to get kids into the outdoors. Larry's been a guest about 18 months ago, and I'm so happy to have him back, and he's going to spin some stories and let us know what's been happening at Full Range Outdoors.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.